Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plum production, and I think it's time for a cuppa. I've needed that all day, to be honest. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing really well. I'm doing pretty damn splendid. Thank you very much. So I did upload an OTGV on the go video on Monday, and in that video I said that I've got some videos in the can, so to speak, that I was going to upload through the next few days. Well, I've decided to, those videos haven't been deleted, and I'm probably going to keep those videos because there's some views and things I said in those videos that I may publish at some point. So they'll be kept to one side for now, but I'm not going to publish those videos as of right now because things have shifted over the last few days, and as a result of those things shifting, those videos that I've already recorded that haven't uploaded yet, haven't even edited yet, to be honest, are now out of date, or my decisions, my beliefs, whatever it is contained in those videos is now out of date. So we're recording this video. I will preface this by saying this is going to be a bumper edition of TFAC. It's going to be a bit of a longer TFAC, and basically what this video is going to be, and one of my main realizations over the last few days, longer than that, but more specifically last few days, is I'm going to be getting back to my roots, getting back to basics, so to speak. And what I mean by that is over the last how many years, I've kind of been spreading myself thin over various many hobbies. I've been getting new hobbies, I've been quitting those hobbies. I've got board games, you know, over there I've got to board games for a bit, more on that a little bit later, potentially. So I sort of just spread myself thin, and I kind of forgot about my main two loves, which is games or gaming, video gaming, and box sets, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, whatever it may be, box sets basically. And I think the main reason that I lost my way, so to speak, is basically impatience, not willing to wait for a game to release. So many times a friend would say to me, oh, you know, you're looking forward to that game, you're going to pick this particular game up, and I'll be like, nah, you know, that comes out in like 3 weeks time. I can't be asked to wait and save money for that. I've gone ahead and bought a board game, or gone ahead and bought a drone, or gone ahead and bought something else, some random thing, because I want the instant gratification, the instant satisfaction from getting the thing now rather than waiting. And I think it's caused a knock-on effect, or a spiral effect, that's just been going on longer and longer. And the last few days I've sold some things over the last week, which we'll talk about. I'm going to be selling something else on Monday, which we'll be talking about. And it's kind of just made me sort of, what's the word? Consolidate, sort of think, reflect. And I'm going to be giving you the results of that self-reflection in this video. So first and foremost, one thing I do wish to say before we continue. One of the things I discussed in one of my previous videos was the upcoming release of the PlayStation 5 Pro. In one of the videos that hasn't been published, I was very sour on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I would say, to be honest, my opinions are still very similar to that. I do think the PS5 Pro is insanely overpriced, to be honest. It is the most expensive interstitial console ever released, and I think the most expensive console ever released, not adjusting for inflation. If you do adjust for inflation, I'm gonna that Coke bottle drop. If you do adjust for inflation, the PS3 actually takes the cake, takes the prize, because I think it comes out at like $925 if you adjust it for inflation, which is ridiculous, to be honest. But I do think Sony have gone arrogant again. I think when it comes to the PS4 and now the PS5 doing so well, I mean, selling 2 to 1 of Xboxes, selling almost 100 million units, just absolutely killing it. They're in the same position they were with the PS2. They're getting complacent and arrogant again and think they can release a console at £700/$, and people be okay with it. One thing I will say, and this is a big bugbear, is why they're releasing it for £700 and $700. Last time I looked, although the gap is narrowing quite a bit, pound is still more expensive or more worth more than dollars. So why are we why are we having the same amount of money, or it's the same cost in pounds than it is dollars? Anyway, that may not be Sony's fault. That may just be the economy's fault. But just wanted to point that out. That really is a big bugbear. Anyway, having said that, all those things that I just said, I have gotten some news recently that I will probably be able to, with a bit of juggling here and there, I should be able to afford a PS5 Pro by the end of November. I've already spoken about this a few times. I'm getting a back pay at some point from work, and the rumour is that back pay will be paid to us at the end of November. It's quite a significant back pay. With that back pay, and with selling my current PlayStation 5 to help fund the PlayStation 5 Pro, and maybe a couple of other things that I may be doing some jiggery poker with and saving some money, here and there, I should be able to afford a PlayStation 5 Pro. So with that, I'm going to be buying a PlayStation 5 Pro at the end of November. Well, that's the idea. Obviously, I say I'm kind of committing to it by saying I'm going to buy it for two reasons, and we'll get into that in a moment. But obviously, financially, if I can do it, I'll be getting it at the end of November. What I'll be doing during November is buying the disk drive attachment using my birthday money, because I do get about £100, give or take, of birthday money, and I will be using that towards the expandable or attachable disk drive for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And then when I get the PlayStation 5 at the end of November, I can PS5 Pro, I can just slap on the drive. Why am I getting the drive, you may ask? Because I was considering selling all of my physical games and then just going digital, because I've bought this. We will be talking about this in a moment, but I went ahead and bought the Dark Souls trilogy literally yesterday, the day before it arrived yesterday. I bought it a day before, next day delivery, Amazon. So obviously, having this now, my housemate turned around to me and said, well, what are you going to do to get the PS5 Pro, being that it has no disk drive? And I said, I'm going to have to get the disk drive. So I'm committing to buying the disk drive in November with birthday money, and then getting the PS5 Pro at the end of November when the back pay comes through, and then going from there, essentially. So that's the plan. The plan is to buy a PS5 Pro at the end of November. I will say, when it comes to PS5 Pro, there's two major things that I really did like with the presentation. Is I've been looking for a console that you don't have to pick between fidelity and performance, and with the PS5 Pro, you can play at 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing turned on. Also, with the PS5 Pro, ray tracing is being expanded, is being made more advanced, basically. So hopefully, games like Elden Ring, and we'll talk about that in a moment, will look beautiful on the PlayStation 5 Pro with the advanced ray tracing, the 4K 60, and all the different stuff about that. That's my other thing when it comes to the current consoles, is you can't turn ray tracing on and still play at 60 FPS. So again, hopefully with the PS5 Pro, you should be able to do that, turn everything up to the max, still play at 60 FPS, and away you go. I understand they're basically narrowing the overhead on ray tracing, so it allows it to still keep that 4K 60 with ray tracing enabled. So yeah, so we'll be getting a PlayStation 5 Pro. And again, this is part of my realization, self-reflection, and we're sort of going back to what is one of my core interests, loves, and that's video gaming. At the end of the day, yes, we'll get onto my Xbox in a moment. We'll get onto that. I think I did mention on Monday I have sold my Xbox, and we'll be getting onto that in a moment. Just take a swig of coffee. But given that my PlayStation is now my primary way of playing games, I do have a PC. But, you know, why not have the best version of that I can have? If I can afford it, and I'm sure if I do a bit of jiggery pokery, I can afford it, and we'll go from there. So I'm actually looking excited. I am looking forward to the PS5 Pro. Obviously, me buying it after release, it releases on the 7th of November, means that I can look at reviews, I can sort of see what people think of it, and go from there, basically. So that's one of the primary things that I wanted to talk about in this video. Another thing I wanted to mention, again, with sort of the realization that I've gotten back to the basics when it comes to what I love, my core loves, as it were. I have sold my Xbox Series X. I regret some of it. I regret some of the games that I've lost now that I don't have an Xbox anymore. However, I'll get onto that in a moment. Actually, I bought some of the games that I had exclusively on the Xbox on the PlayStation, Elden Ring being one of them. And as a result of me buying Elden Ring on the PS5, and I bought the Dark Souls trilogy. The reason I'm kind of doubling down on the Soulsborne series of games is now I have every single Soulsborne game on the PlayStation, from Demon's Souls right up until Elden Ring. I don't have the Elden Ring DLC just yet because I've only just restarted the game. There's no point buying the DLC if I'm not at the place where I can enjoy the DLC. I'll probably be buying the DLC in the next couple of months and then going from there. So what I'm going to be doing, Luke asked me the other day what I'm going to be doing with the money that I got from selling the Xbox. Now, he echoed this, I do believe. I said I do want to do something special with it. I don't want to just waste it. I could save it towards the PS5 Pro. That could be a sound thing to do. But what I think I'm actually going to do, and it is related to Soulsborne, is Tune and Fairweather. I spoke about this a few months back. Tune and Fairweather have a series of books on Dark Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne, and Demon's Souls. They have a series of books on all of those games. Demon Archives is the one that's from Demon's Souls. They've got both You Died and the Abyssal Archives for Dark Souls. They've also got Blood Echoes for Bloodborne. I'm trying to remember all the books. There's like 5 books. Soul Arts, which is a sort of a compendium of art from all of the Soulsborne games, from Sekiro to Bloodborne to Dark Souls to Demon's Souls. And then in January, they are releasing another book. I think it's called By Your Grace. I think that's the name of the book. It's an Elden Ring book. And of course, Grace being a big part of Elden Ring, it's basically their souls. But I think it's called By Your Grace. And basically, it's a deep dive into into Elden Ring and what Elden Ring is all about. Yes, the book is £216. It's not cheap. But if I buy all the other books when I get paid this month, which is in just over a week's time, I will then be able to buy that book and have the full collection. And Luke turned and said, why not? You know, that sounds like a really good idea to spend your money on, kind of thing. I've wanted those books for a while. Yes, it's going to cost me 250 quid to buy all of those books at the moment, and of course in January £216 for the Elden Ring book. But hey, I've loved the Dark Souls and Soulsborne and all those games and Bloodborne and all that kind of stuff for a very long time, and Tune and Fairweather are knocking out the park with these books at the moment. So that's the plan when it comes to that, and that's kind of why I've doubled down on on Soulsborne games at the moment. I do want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 just for a moment. I did the digital upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version the other day. I spent £10, which is what the upgrade costs, and I now have access, as long as I use this disc, I have access to the PS5 version of The Last of Us, and it is beautiful, I must say. I haven't played it with 4K yet. I played it in 60 FPS mode. I will check out 4K with ray tracing if it has ray tracing at some point. I've been playing the no return mode, which is kind of their roguelike mode. I've also been playing the roguelike mode in God of War Ragnarok, which is called Valhalla, and been enjoying both of them immensely, to be honest. But I did go ahead and, you know, upgrade to that. I do want to get Astrobot. However, looking at what my wages are likely going to be next month and how much free money I'm going to have with buying the all the Soulsborne books from Tune and Fairweather, and I'm still going to be buying Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I've pre-ordered, as it currently stands, a Steelbook, the Atari 50 Steelbook. So with all that being said, next month's going to be a little bit expensive. I don't think I'll be able to get Astrobot just yet, unless I take some things down to CX. We'll see how I feel about that. But I do want to get Astrobot at some point, and then probably down the road, Black Myth Wukong is probably my next purchase. After that, trying to think if that's all the games that I'm going to be buying soon. So yeah, that's basically what's going on at the moment. I've also gotten into drones. I do now have a DJI Mini 2. I got this weekend before. Got this the weekend before from someone on Facebook Marketplace. Got me a really good deal on this. I've been loving playing around with the DJI Mini 2, and you will see a full-on video on that at some point. I've also gotten into, this is a TBS Mambo. This is for FPV drone flying. However, I've kind of bounced off the FPV community. So I'm part of a Discord server as well as a website. I'm not going to name the website necessarily, but I was invited to a Discord server, and basically I bought this controller. There's a series of sims that you can buy, Liftoff being one of them, Uncrashed being another. There's a bunch of different FPV sims that you can buy that help sort of train muscle memory and how to FPV fly, basically. And once I bought this controller and a couple of other things last month, I didn't have the money to necessarily splurge on one of those games. So I didn't buy one of those games. I then sold my Steam Deck along with some other bits and bobs, and with that got the DJI Mini 2. Keep calling it DJI, it's DJI Mini 2. And when I posted in the Discord server that I'd gone ahead and bought the drone, somebody popped up and said, rather than buying another drone, you should be paying one of the simulators and practicing, basically, which irked me ever so slightly, and I did kind of respond back to that, saying, you know, it's kind of up to me what I spend my money on. And he said, well, you know, you've kind of put your foot half in the door. Now you bought a DJI drone. Are you FPV? Are you standard DJI? What's going on? Sort of thing. Had a bit of a back and forth with them. Shouldn't assume gender. And then later on, someone else popped up and basically said, imagine all the FPV stuff you could have bought with the £200 you spent on the DJI drone. You could have bought yourself a drone and a module for this to be able to use it with, you know, Crossfire, because this is a tracer RC unit. And essentially they just almost like were dictating what I spend my money on, which is a big pet peeve of mine. Big pet peeve. You don't tell me how to spend my money. Thank you very much. So I've basically bounced off that community. I'm going to focus on, you know, traditional drone at the moment, and I'm actually selling this as it stands on Monday. I've got a seller lined up who'll be coming around on Monday to pick this up and give me money for it, which is going towards the Tune and Fairweather books when I get paid a week on Monday. So yeah, the last thing I did want to sort of unbox in this video right at the end, as a little treat for those of you that have stayed on to the end. In this box I have the next two novels when it comes to Batman. So if we get these out, we've got the second part to Zero Year, so Zero Year Part 2. That's the back. Just to show you some of the art Smells good. Smells like a new book. There you go. Some of the art inside. We'll put that there. And then we got Batman and Son, which is obviously the book with Damian Wayne, I do believe. So there we go. Batman and Son. And there we go. And we also get, I'm not sure if this was an extra, we get The Legend of Batman. It's really weird when they seem to put a leaflet or an advert in for the very thing that you are subscribed to. But hey. And on the back are some of the free gifts that I can expect. I'm supposed to be getting these in the next package delivery. They were supposed to come in this one, but they've had a problem with supply, so they've had to postpone it to the next one. And I don't know whether I'm getting the tin mug in the next one or the tin mug after that, but there's a high chance that the tin mug is going to show up in these videos as a... So I've got the mascot mug, the obligatory mug, the Zelda mug. I'm not sure I've called that at the moment. So I'd have to have a new name for them for the Batman mug. When it pops up, maybe just call it the Batman mug. That's probably a fair thing to call that. But there's a high chance I'll be doing TFACs with the Batman mug. Well, I did say this was going to be a bit of a bumper video. I do have some more things to talk about, but we'll leave it for this video. And that is, I do want to talk about the formation or reformation of Linkin Park and their new lead singer Emily Armstrong. But that will be for another video. Until next time, guys, please take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.